From heart-pounding action-adventures and torturous horror to mind-bending puzzles and compelling stories, the PS4 has it all to offer, complete with addictive multiplayer and beautifully written indie narratives. It has jaw-dropping graphics and exceptional performance. Welcome back to another PS4 video, marvelous gamers. Today we are delving into the best that the PS4 has to offer. Let's dive right in and explore the world of unparalleled gaming brilliance that the PS4 has unlocked for us. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt 2015. Are you into immersive narratives with depth and moral ambiguity? Beautiful environments in large sandbox worlds, swords, alchemy and monsters. The third Witcher game checks all the boxes. In the midst of a war between Nilfgaard and Redania, Gerald of Rivia, a skilled monster hunter, looks for Cyrilla, his child-surprised daughter, who is on the run from the ghoulish riders of the Wild Hunt. In this challenging action RPG's richly detailed world, you solve mysteries, look for hidden treasures, use magic, gather resources for the best Witcher equipment you can afford, and more. Red Dead Redemption 2 from 2018. Set in the dying days of the American Wild West, Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2 tells the story of a gang and its struggles in navigating a fast-changing industrial world while being hunted by rival gangs and the authorities. Following a botched heist, protagonist Arthur Morgan and the Van der Linde gang have no option but to abandon their score and flee. They must now loot, steal and kill through the rugged West to ensure their survival. This deeply complex narrative breathes life into the themes of loyalty, morality and survival, and gives a new meaning to immersive interaction. This masterpiece tells individual stories while artistically exploring the various cultures depicted. Grand Theft Auto 5 from 2013. For the first time in a GTA game, we are able to play as not one but three different protagonists and experience their interconnected lives. Prior to an armed bank robbery, Michael DeSanta cut a deal with the cops to protect himself. Betraying his accomplice and best friend Trevor, Michael fakes his death and retires to Los Santos, only to get sucked back into the world of crime years later. This time around, he meets Franklin, a young street-level hustler looking to make it big. The plot here centers around a series of heists and their respective impacts. Exploring the vast city of Los Santos is like experiencing a satirical version of LA. You can do just about anything in GTA 5, and the missions have you shooting, car chasing, robbing, practicing yoga, fighting aliens, and a lot more. God of War 2018. Set in the Norse realm of Midgard, God of War has you playing in an era long after Kratos bested the Olympian gods. Kratos now lives with Atreus, his son. Following his wife's death, Kratos must honor her last wish to have her ashes scattered atop the highest peak in all 9 realms. After Kratos tests and trains the child, the two set out for the giant's fingers in Jotunheim. This one painted a new picture in exploring Kratos' relationship as a son. The story is one filled with heart. The signature combat and violence are retained while adding the son's assistance in fights and puzzles in this intimate and touching single-shot cinematic experience. Ghost of Tsushima 2020. The year 1274 in the Kamakura era saw the Mongol Empire invade the prosperous island of Tsushima. By having you play Jin Sakai, one of the few samurai protectors left to fight for Tsushima's freedom, the narrative captures how the samurai protagonist must evolve into one without honor, letting go of traditional samurai morals to fiercely fight the Mongols for his people. In its beautiful combat sequences, captivating landscapes and vast open world, you find a hauntingly beautiful depiction of feudal Japan. Jin's transformation into the titular ghost demands the use of ranged weapons and tools, resulting in an enticing stealth experience. Batman Arkham Knight 2015. Best known for being the first game in the Arkham series that lets you drive around in the Batmobile, Batman Arkham Knight is the series' most innovative one to date. When the Scarecrow returns, demonstrating the effects of his latest fear toxin, he unveils his plans to unleash it upon Gotham. As Gotham's Dark Knight, you glide into action to stop Scarecrow from using his chemical weapon. The stealth elements, detective sequences, hand-to-hand combat, and gadgets that made the earlier titles famous are all seen here, and they are refined. The Batmobile segments open you up to high-speed chases, and the tank battles only make it better. The intricacies of the experience and the depth of the plot make Arkham Knight a joyride that explores Batman's psyche. Marvel's Spider-Man 2018. Marvel's Spider-Man is undoubtedly the best Spider-Man game we've ever received. It starts off with an experienced Peter Parker struggling to balance his daily life and web-swinging crusade. The plot takes shape as you investigate the Inner Demons gang led by Mr. Negative, but it twists into a story that would have you on the edge of your seat. You soon find yourself facing the game's variation of the Sinister Six. The folks at Insomniac put a lot into this one. New York City is seamless, and as you swing through it, unlocking Spider-Man's various acrobatic and combat abilities, you realize just how perfectly this game captures everything about New York's friendly neighborhood wall crawler. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain 2015. Playing as Big Boss himself, you awaken from a 9-year coma and face a series of betrayals. Your mission is to seek revenge against those who wronged you. The narrative is complex, delving into themes of identity and the toll of war, while blurring the lines between heroism and villainy. Expanding on all the best traits of the Solid series within the Marvel Gear franchise, Hideo Kojima's MGS5 The Phantom Pain is most notably recognized for its meticulous attention to detail in tactical espionage and open-ended gameplay. For instance, the day-night cycle allows for stealthier operations at night and improved accuracy during the day. Most actions aren't scripted. The Phantom Pain offers an unparalleled mercenary experience. Mortal Kombat 11 2019. Honoring the legacy of the legendary fighting franchise, Mortal Kombat 11 features a roster of 37 of your all-time favorite fighters and some new ones, while navigating a time-warping war through its 12-chapter story. When Chronica, the Keeper of Time, resurrects the deadly enemies of Earthrealm's protectors with the ultimate goal of crafting a new timeline from scratch, our heroes, led by Thunder God Raiden, fight to protect all of existence. MK11 features all your favorite signature moves, including the unique and graphic fatalities and brutalities, along with a bunch of creative solo and multiplayer modes. This includes the Crypt, a third-person mode where you spend combat-earned resources to unlock randomized chests and consequently character cosmetics. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End from 2015. Our next cinematic action-adventure game was a much-awaited release. Nathan Drake was first seen kicking his feet up with Elena, looking fondly back on the past adventures. His brief period of peace is soon disrupted and tossed back into thrilling chaos with the return of his long-lost brother Sam, who must either find Henry Avery's treasure or be killed by a connection he made in prison. The action sequences that follow are nothing short of state-of-the-art, with the best controls seen in the franchise. A Thief's End is an achievement in cinematic storytelling, with great art and intricate relationships. The puzzles are fluid, and the experience is booming with human touch. Resident Evil 2 Remake from 2019. With its story being told in two intertwined parts, the RE2 Remake takes you to gorgeous Raccoon City as rookie cop Leon S. Kennedy, or Claire Redfield, who is looking for her MIA brother Chris. The two first encounter each other at a gas station and find themselves surrounded by zombies. After they've managed to escape that situation, a car accident forces the two to split up, with plans to rendezvous at the police station. As you stressfully kill zombies in this survival horror, you can't help but be in awe of the graphics and the way they bring the fixed camera original to life in the third person. The monsters are grotesque and the atmosphere is dreadfully perfect. Far Cry 4. Kyrat is a fictional country in the Himalayas that Ubisoft created, blending elements from India, Tibet and Nepal in an exaggerated manner. The first-person lead here is Ajay Ghale, who visits the place that united his parents to scatter his late mother's ashes at Lakshmana. However, Ajay doesn't know what or where it is and gets caught in Kyrat's very own civil war led by the enigmatic dictator Pagan Min. In this morally ambiguous insurgent power struggle story, you'll find a world blooming with flora and fauna. Players must gather resources and weapons by hunting prey, human or otherwise, and determine the course of their faction by making key decisions. Elden Ring 2022. Elden Ring takes place in a fictional realm by the name of the Lands Between. This one has players customize their hero as a member of the Tarnished. After the immortal queen shattered the Elden Ring, the Lands Between bore witness to her demigod children fighting among themselves for its pieces. As one of the Tarnished, you are summoned back from exile to fight the demigods and collect shards of the ring in an effort to repair it and restore order to the realm. You are faced with challenging monster battles as you explore deep into this mystical world, sometimes even on a horse. The intricate gameplay in this dark fantasy world is a fascinating experience. The Last of Us Remastered from 2014. After the 2013 original's success, Naughty Dog remastered it so that its graphics and gameplay were consistent with the sequels. After the cordyceps virus outbreak, Joel, having lost his daughter, takes on the life of a smuggler. When a mission has him transport a girl outside the quarantine zone, he finds in Ellie things he adored about his own child, and the two fight their way through the undead and other survivors in an effort to find the cure. Best known for its rich atmosphere and touching narrative with refined combat mechanics, this is among the best remasters we have ever seen. Horizon Zero Dawn 2017. Aloy is a skilled hunter in a wondrous post-apocalyptic world overrun by giant robots. Through the sparks and bloodshed, you'll observe 26 deadly species of animalistic machines in this game's combat, the most compelling feature it offers. Strategizing is important, considering your foe's weaknesses is vital to your success. This gameplay is only enhanced by the lack of spoon-feeding tutorials, which makes for some rewarding victories. It manages to simulate hunting in its wild cybernetic stretches of greenery as you uncover the world's mysteries in this narrative's clash between technology and nature. Gran Turismo Sport 2017. With a heavy focus on competitive online racing enabled by the FIA, Gran Turismo Sport has an impressive 338 cars and 82 trucks in 32 locations for you to rip through. It does away with the GT5 and 6's daytime cycles, instead giving you the option to select the settings you wish to race in. In sport mode, you participate in 3 daily races which reset weekly and compete for better driver and sportsmanship ratings. Arcade mode remains available if you simply crave speed, and the game introduces the concept of car categories, creating a more organized experience. Doom Eternal 2020. With a stronger story-driven campaign than most Doom games, Eternal boldly expands on its predecessor's foundation. Doomslayer returns in 2163 with a thirst for exacting revenge on the forces of hell, and you uncover the secrets of his origin in this complex, gritty narrative. In its relentless demon-slaying frenzy, you'll notice a masterful blend of speed and strength as you push through hordes of ghoulish enemies. The adrenaline-fueled experience packs fluid movement mechanics. With an expanded arsenal and a stellar soundtrack, the franchise is as strong as ever. Bloodborne 2015. Coming in strong with a heavily customizable, nameless protagonist, Bloodborne tells the tale of a hunter who descends into the nightmarish, gothic Yharnam city looking for a cure to his or her mysterious but deadly ailment. To your disappointment, when you get there, the city is already in a state of peril. Death and madness roam the streets, and most citizens have turned into beasts. Your improvised goal now is to navigate this artistically dreadful city, fighting the Lovecraftian horrors that await you in your hunt for the cure. Intriguing narratives and unique weapons in gothic horror settings. It sells like hotcakes. Mortal Kombat X 2015. In a new generation of fighters, 25 years after the events of MK9, we experience a war between the Earth Realm and the Nether Realm, led by Shinnok. Mortal Kombat 10 was the first one in its franchise to offer players a choice in combat variations that affected their character's fighting style and could be incorporated into their match strategy. NetherRealm Studios commendably managed to include cool new characters even after the deaths of a good number of fan favorites in MK9. The series' signature brutalities made a comeback and were altered into gory cinematic finishes. Add these to the new quintalities and the graphic X-ray moves, and we have this absolute game-changer title. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag 2013. The fictional ancient expedition of the assassins continue as they fight the authoritarian Templars in 1715. True to the series formula, Black Flag follows an Abstergo employee who draws the mantle of Edward Kenny, a charming pirate around Caribbean parts, through ancestral memories. The immersive naval battle here puts a lot on the line during the game's open-ended combat. Exploring themes like freedom and suppression, piracy and personal growth, Assassin's Creed 4 puts you in a treacherous open world that's yours for the taking. The charming pirate adventure is only enhanced by seamless transitions and the game's flexibility in combat. Doom 2016. When the UAC tries to harvest energy from hell in an attempt to remedy Earth's energy crisis through their research facility on Mars, a member of the research team goes rogue and the lab is overrun by demons. Among the captive demons and artifacts that the UAC has gathered is the Doomslayer, whom Dr. Samuel Hayden frees in order to kill the demons and close the portal to hell. Doom 2016 is a glorious rerun of the series' roots. In unadulterated demon slaying, you'll find that aggression is rewarded with health and ammo for more aggressive demon slaying. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard 2017. When Mia Winters disappears during a babysitting job in Louisiana, her husband Ethan assumes that she's left him. 3 years later, however, Ethan receives a video from her asking him not to go looking for her for his own good. Ethan pays no heed and finds himself at the creepy Baker house. He soon realizes that his wife is alive, but sadly, they are not alone there. Capcom has masterfully created the perfect survival horror atmosphere with the first FPS Resident Evil game. You're sure to feel helpless every time you run out of ammo or are killed by the horrors that await you here. Need for Speed 2019. The thrilling illegal street racing experience lives on in the fictional Palm City as a nameless protagonist arrives to compete in the Speed Hunters Showdown, a citywide exhibition event. Come nightfall, however, Palm City becomes host to unsanctioned races occupied by daredevils and speed freaks. As the players try to make a name for themselves, the narrative puts them up against a rogue high-speed task force hell-bent on taking the street racers down. With an engaging story to offer, NFS Heat also features 127 cars with extensive customization options and a captivating Miami-like open world. The Last of Us Part 2 2020. After Joel and Ellie settled down with a survivors community in Wyoming, life was good for a while. When Joel is held accountable for his decisions in the prequel, however, Ellie is filled with painful rage and sets out looking for some much-needed closure. With its new enemy classes, artistic and impacting storyline, and refined movement mechanics, TLOU Part 2 forms the other side of the coin that was the first game. The story won't go the way you want it to, but you will be consumed by it and reflect on it for days. Battlefield 1 from 2016. Set on the premise of the First World War, Battlefield 1 takes a breather from modernity and futuristic settings. The campaign unfolds through a series of 6 war stories, with each of them exploring the war on various fronts through different groups of allied troops. The setting, even in the midst of a deadly battle, manages to be a refreshing experience. The story and level design are genius. The mechanics are solid in the multiplayer mode, and with its amazing sound design, Battlefield 1 is definitely a winner. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice 2019. Combining exploration and combat with stealth and shinobi tools, Sekiro takes you to a fictional Japan in the Sengoku period of the late 1500s. It tells the story of an immortal shinobi by the name of Wolf, who is out to get his revenge on the samurai group that threw him in prison and abducted his lord. In a world blooming with Buddhist culture, Sekiro explores supernatural themes and packs fast-paced, precise gameplay. The combat system screams innovation and replaces health bars with a posture system wherein you attack the enemy's weaknesses. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition 2014. The next one is a remaster of the base game that came a year before it, featuring improved graphics and all DLCs. Tomb Raider explores Lara Croft's origins before she became the hardened explorer that the series depicts. This expedition takes us to Yamatai Island, where we see Lara and her crew shipwrecked. You must play as the untested, bold Lara and rescue your friends while being hunted by a cult. The length and depth of the gameplay are brought to life by spectacular voice acting, and Lara's convincing growth as a character gives way to its amazing sequels. The developers also managed to achieve a perfect balance between the combat and exploration sequences. Dead Cells 2018. Dead Cells is a 2D action platformer with roguelike Metroidvania elements. You are the prisoner, an amorphous necromancer who breaks free to fight his way through a diseased island with the end goal of killing its king. Combat is a fair challenge in this interconnected world, and you must either kill the king in one go or die and start from prison again. With responsive controls, challenging enemies, creative levels, deadly weapons, and cool abilities, Dead Cells is an extremely rewarding experience in its appealing visuals and sound design. Days Gone 2019. Following a viral outbreak when outlaw biker protagonist Deacon St. John has reason to believe that his wife Sarah is among the many casualties of a zombie attack, he takes to the life of a mercenary along with his friend Boozer. Days Gone paints a picture that makes you feel isolated in the wake of the apocalypse. You are encouraged to explore and approach obstacles alternatively in this engaging open world. Additionally, there are multiple intertwined narratives that you have the freedom to switch between, keeping the game fresh and engaging. Project Cars 2 2017. The next racing sim on our list is Project Cars 2, which brings with it an iconic experience and has you drive under a broad spectrum of conditions in your quest to become the ultimate driver. This one manages to capture the very essence of racing in its intense but beautiful environments. The tire physics is commendable here. With a roster of over 170 cars and a large selection of tracks including ice and dirt terrains, Project Cars 2 not only introduces new vehicle classes and a dynamic day-night cycle, but also a new online championships mode. Tom Clancy's The Division 2 from 2019. The Division 2 is an online-only action RPG wherein players follow an agent of the Division in Washington, D.C. The Division is an organization of sleeper agents who strive to rebuild the city which has been pushed to its last legs following a chemical weapon attack. The settings significantly improved in comparison to the first installment, with a stunning recreation of DC. The combat and gameplay are tight and seamless. You could grind on this looter-shooter for months, if not years, and still not get enough of it. The endgame is just as rewarding too. Injustice 2 from 2017, when Gorilla Grodd forms a new supervillain alliance called the Society. Following the fall of Superman's regime, Batman and his insurgency, who were trying to restore peace and balance to society, must now rise up to face the threat. Injustice 2 was a significant step up from Gods Among Us. The story's motion capture, voice acting, and overall engagement are next level. The addition of evasive roll, air recovery maneuvers, and the new blocking mechanics is proof that NetherRealm knew how to retain the prequel's strengths while improving on its weaknesses. Fortnite from 2017. The next one that made it to our list is Fortnite. Primarily known for its 100-player free-to-play Battle Royale mode, Fortnite also has two other modes. Save the World mode encapsulates a co-op tower defense and survival experience where you fight enemies in squads of 4, whereas Creative mode gives you the freedom to build your own stages and do as you please with them. Fortnite's Battle Royale steals the show with its colorful, ever-evolving map, its wacky themes and events, upgradable weapons, and a state-of-the-art construction mechanic. The ability to build and obstruct your enemy's efforts is its most innovative feature. Nier Automata 2017. Sequel to Nier from 2010, Nier Automata is an action RPG that shows us a post-apocalyptic world where whatever is left of humanity fights otherworldly sentient machines through their own androids. Among these are the ones that players control, Combat Android 2B, Scanner 9S and Rogue A2. Automata follows an extremely unique theme. The scaling in this one's environment works to make you feel small and goes to enhance its daunting atmosphere. The resulting experience is nothing short of crazy, with a combination of numerous gaming genres and its ever-changing camera angles. Apex Legends 2019. Taking place in the same sci-fi universe as another popular Respawn entertainment game, Titanfall, Apex Legends is a free-to-play battle royale game that features several legends as hero characters, each with their own unique abilities and perks. Every legend can be categorized as fitting into one of 5 character classes: Assault, Recon, Support, Controller and Skirmisher. Apex levels up the battle royale experience with its rugged world, where anything goes. There are a good number of critics who argue that Apex's gunplay is the best we have seen in a game of the genre so far. The ping system is highly innovative and eliminates the need for voice chat, overcoming its many hindrances. Persona 5 2017. Persona 5 comes from the Japanese RPG side of gaming and follows a silent protagonist who goes by Joker, in telling the story of how a group of Tokyo high school adolescents live their academic, everyday lives by day. At night, however, these students take on the role of phantom thieves who use their various personas in a supernatural realm to rid the adults' hearts of corruption. The gameplay here mixes turn-based combat and dungeon crawling with the game's social simulator premise. It is quite addictive to play, and this is easily among the best JRPGs of all time. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege 2015. Our next online tactical shooter, Rainbow Six Siege, is the result of thorough consultations with actual counter-terrorism units and gives you a loose narrative, training you in 10 different terrorist situations while teaching you the game's intricacies. Once you have these mastered, you're ready for the online fun. With over 20 maps and 5 gameplay modes wherein you can compete against both real players and AI, this one has you operating as a valuable asset to your team as you breach, defend, or defuse bombs and more in its destructible environments. All in all, it is an immersive, fluid and tactical Spec Ops experience. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus 2017. Moving on to a story that's got a reputation for keeping players engaged with its heavy action, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus explores an altered history. You play the role of B.J. Blazkowicz as a member of the resistance that fights back against the Nazis in a timeline where Germany won the Second World War. As you fight through iconic American locations with a badass arsenal of weapons at your disposal, the fast-paced gameplay and the action enhance your experience. By the end of it, Wolfenstein 2 feels like an interactive blockbuster film. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy 2017. The Naughty Dog series that took the PlayStation community by storm has made its way to the Western Ghats Mountains in India. This standalone expansion follows Chloe Fraser as she expedites to find the Tusk of Ganesh, assisted by Nadine Ross, while keeping a ruthless warlord and his insurgent plans at bay. In standard Uncharted fashion, you solve some puzzles, explore platforming stages, and dive into the midst of the action to advance the story. The cinematic narrative serves as a short but sweet adventure with stunning visuals and dynamic characters. Assassin's Creed Odyssey 2018. The series' framing story main story format lives on as players control Layla Hassan and her mercenary known as Eagle Bearer, one of 2 selectable sibling characters, while navigating this grand Spartan adventure through the Peloponnesian War. Odyssey was the first entry in the series that introduced RPG elements to the franchise through its player choice mechanics. With a rich historical setting, engaging stories, naval battles and Greek mythology weaved into its fabric, the transition to role-play gaming was a successful one. Astro Bot Rescue Mission from 2018. Before the PS5's pre-installed tech demo, Astro's Playroom, Sony released Astro Bot's Rescue Mission to flex their achievements in the VR domain. That started off with the PS4. Rescue Mission gives us a new take on platformers. You play as Captain Astro in his quest to rescue his crew, jumping every gap with caution as you uncover the console's charming secrets along the way. The fate of his crew is in your hands. through the game's 26 missions and deadly encounters. As you bash enemies, you realize there is a fun rhythm to the combat. The gentle mechanics are enhanced by the innovative VR effects. Final Fantasy VII Remake 2020. The 2020 remake of the 1997 classic Final Fantasy VII takes us to the sprawling cyberpunk dystopia that is Midgar to tell the story of Cloud Strife. Cloud is an ex-Shinra soldier who joins Avalanche as a mercenary to thwart the Shinra Electrical Power Company's plans to use the planet's life essence as an energy source. The fast-paced battles here have you controlling members of your team in real time while emphasizing strategy. Identity, environmentalism and corporate dominance are the prevalent themes that bring this revamped breathtaker to life. Ratchet & Clank 2016. Tie-in to the 2016 film of the same name, this game is a remake of the first Ratchet & Clank game. It tells the origin story of the titular Lombax mechanic Ratchet and his backpack-like robot companion Clank. This adventure has the pair rushing to save the galaxy from the big bad chairman Alonzo Drake. The series' trademark shooting, platforming and innovative weaponry are all present here. In addition, the inclusion of multiple approaches to progression, creative new weapons and mechanics like strafing entirely revamps the Ratchet & Clank experience we've known. Shadow of the Colossus from 2018. Yet another remake. Shadow of the Colossus belongs to the action-adventure side of gaming and boasts ultra-high-definition art while retaining the 2005 original's gameplay with new controls. Adopting a cyclic progression style, it has players start off in the middle of an area and seek out the goal of defeating the 16 Colossi to save a girl. As you explore the remote areas looking for the Colossi, you are surprised by how detailed your environments are. A truly unforgettable experience, this title peaks with its evolution and weak point hunting gameplay. Tearaway Unfolded 2015. Our next platformer first debuted on the PS Vita back in 2013, only to expand and make it to the PS4's library 2 years later. Tearaway Unfolded, like the name suggests, features a paper-based world. The narrative here charmingly blurs the line between the game and reality, as it centers on taking control of one out of two messengers and delivering a letter to the player. You fight the scraps, tiny enemies that wreak havoc in the paper world and pour it from a portal. The selling points here are how creative and customizable the experience is as you interact with your platform environments. You control the world like a god, moving things to get your character across. Concrete Genie 2019. When an oil spill causes the town of Denska to be swallowed by darkness, a young sketchbook artist sets out to paint it back to life with his magical brush. Playing as the protagonist, Ash, you will use this brush to draw genies that come to life and help you clear the game's various zones. With its light, cute combat elements, Concrete Genie is extremely pleasant to look at. As you bring the game world back into the light, you discover its Tim Burton-esque genius. The setting has you playing this tale of redemption and friendship while showcasing impressive animations. Medieval 2019. A remake of the 1998 action-adventure title Medieval puts you in the shoes of Sir Daniel Fortescue, a skeleton knight, in his quest to save the world of Gallowmere from an evil sorcerer. Medieval's visuals and design hold true to the original game, its narrative and its settings, while making them look much better. The hack-and-slash gameplay, along with its puzzle-solving and exploration through gothic levels, gives this title a distinct quirkiness. The nostalgia is real, and it has plenty to offer its newcomers too. Everybody's Golf 2017. If you think those games were quirky, wait till you play Everybody's Golf. Take to the trimmed greens in this special mix of comprehensive golf simulator and an adorable portrayal of golfers who you can drive around in golf carts. Players can create and customize their own golfers and are presented with a good number of objectives to clear around the course before leveling up. It is really hard to find something to dislike in Everybody's Golf. The addictive gameplay also comes with a decent replay value and a decent selection of online modes. Little Big Planet 3 from 2014. With a fresh climbing ability and the addition of new power-ups, the Little Big Planet series returned with its third title to tell the story of how the nefarious Newton creates a wormhole to pull our hero, Sackboy, into the world of Bunkum. With a huge variety of puzzle platformer levels to play in this sandbox world, including user-generated ones, Little Big Planet 3 also introduced 3 new characters with their own appealing perks and abilities. The adventure mode in particular, which comes with fluid pacing and scaling to step up the challenge, is applaudable. Detroit Become Human 2018. With the increasing popularity of graphically superior interactive dramas, Quantic Dream Studios came up with Detroit Become Human, set in a dystopian future in the titular city. Its narrative intertwines the lives of 3 androids, Marcus, Connor and Kara, while exploring themes of discrimination and uprising in a society where AI plays an important role. With a genius impact choice system, engrossing motion capture visuals and a heavy attention to dramatic details, Detroit Become Human is not a game to miss out on. Cyberpunk 2077. Night City is an endless dystopian utopia. In this sandbox open-world RPG, you play as V, a mercenary after a heist goes wrong. As one of the many consequences, V's cybernetic consciousness is under threat thanks to this cutting-edge biochip prototype that carries in its circuitry Keanu Reeves' engram. Keanu plays this legend of a terrorist rock star who somehow fits perfectly in the game settings. With open-world RPGs, it's important to keep in mind that the game in question doesn't just exhibit all its brilliance in the main campaign, but rather the sum of that and its side quests, along with the world it portrays. You can find something to get immersed in around every corner of Night City. Titanfall 2. A sequence to 2014's Titanfall. In this sci-fi universe, you control frontier rifleman Jack Cooper and bond with BT-7274, a Titan belonging to Jack's deceased mentor. Controlling Jack's Titan makes for some exhilarating gameplay as you use their heavy weaponry equipped with strong armor. Jack's pilot gameplay segments are no less, and this sequel introduces Titanfall fans to a world of new fluid mechanics, in addition to the already dynamic combat from the first game. As you set out to complete your mentor's mission, you can't help but feel like you're being pulled into the narrative with this thinking man's shooter. Fallout 4. The year is 2287. In a nuclear catastrophe-devastated world, you play as the sole survivor who awakens after a long cryogenic sleep in the underground Fallout shelter, Vault 111. You jump right into the heart of the action when this narrative throws you into looking for your kidnapped child following the murder of your husband or wife. This sequel story to Fallout 3 has managed to remain at the top as Fallout's finest title since its release. The game introduces intuitive armor and base building systems to the series, and also a praiseworthy crafting system that manages to incorporate every lootable you can find. There is easily over 100 hours of play with Fallout 4. There's tons of content, and there'll always be something new to experience outside of the improved combat and its various systems. Rise of Tomb Raider. Lara Croft's second adventure after the one from the 2013 game takes her on an expedition in the unforgiving cold mountains of Siberia to find the Prophet's lost city of Kitesh. You're going to notice that this one is a bit more realistic than the previous game. Lara's even dealing with PTSD from her previous adventure and dives into her late father's research on this one's destination. A lot is on the line with this one. Lara has become a hardened warrior, and it feels cool to experience her growth. Cool stealth assassinations and insane climbs will keep you playing for hours. This one is a more personal experience and takes you to some pretty breathtaking places. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. The second installment in Insomniac's Spider-Man series picks up right where the prequel left off and serves as a spin-off. The plot this time around focuses on Miles Morales' transition into a new Spider-Man and his struggle with balancing his life as a student and as Harlem's own friendly neighborhood superhero. This one places you as Miles, saving the city from a war between Roxxon Energy Corp and the Tinkerer's tech-savvy criminal organization. It retains the core gameplay of the prequel while introducing new character animations and abilities to the new Spider-Man. Among said abilities, you're surely going to adore the bioelectric venom blasts and Miles' invisibility. With these incorporated, the combat feels fresh and absolutely thrilling. Death Stranding. Dubbed by Hideo Kojima himself as the first game of the Strand genre, which heavily incorporates social elements into the play, Death Stranding was what we got after Kojima's Silent Hills fell through the cracks. The whole thing feels like building a new world. Readers Del Toro and Kojima worked on this one together like they were supposed to on Silent Hills, and give us this beautiful post-apocalyptic explorer where you play as Readus, making deliveries to people while keeping spooky invisible creatures at bay. These complexities and concepts central to Death Stranding, as confusing as they may be to newcomers, are what make this gorgeous post-cataclysmic version of the United States so convincing. Dying Light. If you ask me, zombies are significant enough in the world of gaming to have their own genre outside of horror. That being said, this right here is arguably the best zombie game out there. Step into the fictional Harran City, where citizens have turned into zombies following an infectious outbreak, and play Kyle Crane. Kyle is a GRE agent, no stranger to fluid parkour moves and fighting the undead. Your mission is to recover top-secret documentation that has found its way into the possession of a rogue political faction. Dying Light is an endless series of scary nights, non-stop thrills, and hardcore parkour. Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 marked the final entry in the series of third-person action RPGs. The Age of Fire is coming to an end, and the first flame breathes its last breath. The threat of the Age of Dark approaches with the army of the undead. As the Ashen One, it's up to you to rid the Lothric kingdom of its horrors. Dark Souls 3 is a world filled with dread and eeriness. Even with all its gothic design and personality, the world feels whimsical. The style of the series lives on, and this time it looks glorious. The boss fights are the best of the series, making this one an absolute winner. Dishonored 2. 15 years after young Emily Kaldwin took her place on the throne in Dishonored, Royal Protector Corvo Attano still hasn't left her side. All is well in Dunwall City until the mysterious Crown Killer starts offending opposing faction members. Emily's aunt, Delilah, now has the chance to overthrow her by blaming Corvo and her for the Crown killings. Arcane's best works are seen in Dishonored 2's level design, and you get to play these levels as either Corvo or the new playable character Emily. Leaving the graphic updates and the smooth mechanics from the first one aside, Emily even comes with a fresh set of powers for you to master. Monster Hunter World. The fifth Monster Hunter title is also the highest selling title Capcom's ever made. You play as a hunter, discovering a new unpopulated world alongside your assistant handler. You are part of the Fifth Fleet, which is on its way to assist the Research Commission in exploring this world and studying the Elder Dragons. The quality of the environments was of pristine importance to the devs. In fact, the first prototype didn't even have combat mechanics, and the monsters in it had to be evaded or slayed through environment interaction. The result was a beautiful, alive, and open-ended world, and a daring challenge for the gamers. Yakuza Oh. Our next title was a much anticipated release and is none other than the origin story of two big-time Yakuza series characters, Goro Majima and Kazuma Kiryu. The two are caught up in a war between rival gangs in 1988 and are scorned by their own. This narrative builds up to their meeting by the end of it, and it's this very game that became the primary benefactor of the series' Western popularity. Within this fictional representation of Tokyo and Osaka, the fight and grind systems shine bright. The combat is brutal and unexpected. The arcadesque degree of difficulty makes its open world very immersive. What Remains of Edith Finch? What Remains of Edith Finch is a bit of a wildcard entry in our list. While its gameplay limits interactivity and resembles a walking sim, it manages to achieve wonders in story design and is quite well written. The tale is that of 17-year-old Edith Finch, who hasn't been to the Finch house in over 7 years. Edith's journal narrates the story of how each of her family members who occupied the house eventually died. Each room of the house will tell you part of the story. This interconnected anthology also plays around with how credible Edith's journal as a young, lone survivor can be. Infamous Second Son. A sequel to Infamous 2, Second Son is the story of how neighborhood vandal Delsin Rowe discovers that he is a conduit. With the ability to absorb other conduits' powers, an encounter with the DUP forces Delsin to make his way to Seattle to absorb their leader Augustine's power to save his people. Think of this as a superhero game where you can choose to be evil. Your in-game choices heavily influence the narrative and its ending. Back when it came out, this was the go-to title if you wanted to show off your brand new PS4's next-gen graphic capabilities. Devil May Cry 5, yet another game with a protagonist named V. Devil May Cry 5 is a sequel story taking place 5 years after the events of the 4th game. Nero, Dante and V make for a demonic team with their respective powers, and this story has you controlling them across various missions in Redgrave City. The end goal here is to save humanity from destruction at the hands of Demon King Urizen. Capcom used the RE engine for the Resident Evil games for this one and made it the most balanced, realistic game in the series. Your characters come with a variety of techniques to enhance the gameplay, and the story is also quite well handled. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Somewhere between J.R.R.'s Hobbit and LOTR trilogies, this original Legendarium-based story unfolds, and you control Gondorian Ranger Talion in bonding with Elf Lord Celebrimbor's Wraith over their shared goal of taking on the forces of Sauron and avenging the deaths of people they loved. Playing this one is to take a step into Tolkien's universe. The world is consistent and you explore it in the third person, traveling on monsters or using parkour techniques. The Wraith is what keeps you alive and gives you these cool abilities. The combat is rhythmic and the Nemesis enemy AI system makes it more varied. Until Dawn. With all its nods and quirks, Until Dawn is undoubtedly a gem for lovers of cheesy horror slasher flicks. Wait, are you the type that cringes over the unwise decisions that characters in such films make? Well, Until Dawn has you make the decisions. You control the narrative for those 8 young kids who meet on Blackwood Mountain for a getaway a year after they lost 2 members to the same place. The interactive visual novel drama has you calling the shots and occasionally exploring spooky places in the third person. There is a genius butterfly effect mechanic that alters your narrative to give you over 100 different endings, all based on your decisions. A Plague Tale: Innocence, 2019. Mid-14th century France is riddled with a black plague, and the French Inquisition is hunting down Hugo, our player character Amika's ill-since-birth 5-year-old brother. As Amika, you must protect your brother through the game's rat-infested areas and the aggressive French soldiers, solve environmental puzzles to get past an area, and occasionally attack or distract with your handy sling. The bleak environments you move through in escorting Hugo are so beautifully designed, as dreary as they are. The sound design here is genius and has you shaken to the very core. However, the most special thing about it is probably its unique setting and personal story. Metro Exodus. A sequel to The Last Light from the Metro series and the Metro 2035 novel, Exodus makes you step into the shoes of Artyom, who's out making his way to the Far East, fleeing the Moscow metro with his crew. As you travel on the locomotive Aurora, the story takes you through some diverse and breathtaking environments, and Artyom discovers that there are other survivors of the nuclear war outside of Moscow. The goal with this one was to pack more exploration to cater to the fans, and the devs looked back to the freedom gameplay of Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl to do so. The result was gorgeous. Exodus is perfectly paced, packs thrilling action, and manages to combine its linear progression with its open levels. Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation picks up where Ridley Scott's original 1979 film left off. In 2137, Amanda Ripley is recruited by Wayland Yutani for a recovery mission. Amanda sets out to look for her mother's ship, the Nostromo, and its flight recorder. Sadly, when you get there, the data on the recorder is corrupted, and you encounter a vicious xenomorph. The mission now turns into a survival horror experience as you scavenge and improvise to hold on to your life. True to its name, this one makes you feel alone and has you sweating over your limited resources. Be as quiet as you can. The xenomorph lurks in the shadows and has sharp ears. Sniper Elite 4. The Sniper Elite 3 sequel has players take on the role of Spec Ops exec Carl Fairburn to aid the Italian resistance in fighting the fascist forces. The stakes are raised when a new threat emerges, and failure to complete your mission would result in the Allied movement in Europe being ripped out of its roots. The series' World War II settings and captivating environments on the Italian peninsula are all here. Be it the coastal Mediterranean towns or the deadly Nazi bases, your surroundings are immersive. The innovative X-ray kills and this one's point-and-shoot mechanics feels like the cherry atop a delicious sniper sundae. Far Cry Primal. Adapting the traditional Far Cry recipe to fit this game's prehistoric primitive settings, Far Cry Primal is a Far Cry 4 spin-off telling the tale of an unarmed hunter, Tucker, who has a gift for taming wild animals. This journey sees your player character use his skills to rise the ranks and become the leader of a tribe. This was perhaps the series' most innovative setting yet. It removes the gunplay and vehicles and gives you primitive weapons, both ranged as well as melee, and animals to survive in the wild. You also fight other tribes as you gather, hunt and tame in their territories. Between the raw survival and the taming, Primal had endless potential and marked a new stage of evolution for the series. Watch Dogs. When an electronic heist goes wrong over his partner's mission, Aiden Pierce's identity is given away and his 6-year-old niece is killed. A year later, this grey hat protagonist tracks down his niece's assailant, and here begins his hunt for the contractor who hired him. Watch Dogs was truly a next-gen experience in the wake of the PS4 generation. The virtual rendition of Chicago, its convincingly personal story, the hacking abilities and puzzles, the gunplay and environment interactivity, the cop chase sequences with innovative ways to evade them, the overall style, the list goes on, and there's a lot to love about Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs Legion. Our next title is the third installment in the Watch Dogs series. Legion has shuffled things up significantly over the last 2 games. For starters, instead of controlling just one character, you control multiple members of the hacktivist group DedSec. After a series of bombings, DedSec was blamed, and London turned into a military surveillance state. The plot has you playing to clear DedSec's name. While Legion retains the core elements from the first 2 games, its multiple playable characters changed things entirely. You recruit for tasks, and each character has their own skills and advantages. This fits perfectly with the dystopian London setting, and the optional permadeath further makes things interesting. Hitman. Playing out over the duration of 6 episodic levels, the Hitman games returned after Absolution, and this one gave away to the World of Assassination trilogy. Playing Agent 47 here in solving a chain of murders that seem unconnected takes you to Paris, Sapienza, Marrakesh, Bangkok, Colorado and Hokkaido. Each level and location is a sandbox that enables very open-ended gameplay, allowing you to kill in whichever way you deem fit. Open-ended levels that present you with a lot of ways to assassinate gives this title a solid replay value, and with how difficult it gets at times, you're surely not getting bored of this. The Outer Worlds. In an alternate timeline where humans started colonizing space, 2 colony ships were sent to the Halcyon system. However, within these settings, megacorporations rule the class-centered society, and their greed makes them abandon one of the colony ships, Hope, and leave it adrift in space. Luckily, a mad scientist finds the ship drifting, only to hop on board and free one person, the Stranger, who you wake up as. Your prolonged cryogenic sleep has enhanced your mental and physical capabilities, and the mad scientist tasks you with gathering the necessary resources and reviving the rest of the passengers. With an excellent soundtrack and a cast of voice actors, deep melee combat mechanics, and an incredibly well-written narrative, The Outer Worlds fabulously secures a spot on our list. Rocket League. The best way to explain this one is soccer, but played by driving across the field in these rocket-powered cars that you use to push the ball into the goalposts. This 2015 title, as simple as the explanation seems, took the world by storm and made a big name for itself in the esports scene. The physics engine makes things a fun challenge, and as you boost around the field, you can't help but enjoy the crisp graphics and detailed visuals with consistent frame rates. The quality of gameplay on offer is extremely addictive and fun, and multiplayer makes Rocket League an absolute monster. It's energizing even if you don't like soccer or racing. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. This one is a sequel to 2011's Deus Ex: Human Revolution and makes for an interesting blend of first-person shooting, RPG elements, stealth and exploration. You play Adam Jensen, an augmented covert operative working to expose the Illuminati. In this cyberpunk setting, the story portrays themes like discrimination and transhumanism. The story structure that this title brings to the table is arguably among the best that the genre has to offer. Character interactions offer you a lot of options, and these decisions contribute to how your story plays out. Adam as a character is quite interesting and enigmatic to play, and you can even customize his abilities. Wolfenstein: The New Order. The New Order was conceived as a first-person action-adventure title that draws inspiration from the older games in the series while mainly focusing on the combat and the adventure. Wolfenstein features an alternate timeline in the 1960s where the Nazis won World War II. You play William B.J. Blazkowicz as he fights to prevent Nazi world dominance. With intricate combat, stealth mechanics and varied weaponry, the majority of which can be dual-wielded, The New Order manages to breathe new life into the series and especially satisfied what nostalgic series fans crave. For newcomers, it offers a brilliantly written and voiced narrative with a kick-ass protagonist. Injustice: Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition. Regarded by many as 2013's best fighting game and prequel to Injustice 2, Gods Among Us takes place in a parallel universe within DC's multiverse. The Joker has succeeded in manipulating Superman into destroying Metropolis and killing his beloved Lois Lane. This makes the caped hero resort to tyranny and lay down a new world order. Batman must gather other League members and fight to put an end to Superman's madness. While there is a story here, the focus lies on fighting. The studio behind it is none other than the one that's in charge of the Mortal Kombat games. Injustice actually builds upon 2011's Mortal Kombat with better controls, mechanics, online modes and a campaign. This solid fighter stars your DC favorites, and the Ultimate Edition brings 6 fresh new characters, new skins and 60 additional missions. Control. The Federal Bureau of Control functions to study and seize control of occurrences that break the laws of reality. You control Jesse Faden, the FBC's new director, and explore the Bureau's oldest house, a paranormal headquarters. Here you must face His, a deadly entity that slithered into and corrupted reality as you know it. This comes from the studio behind Alan Wake and features some gripping lore, stylish fast-paced combat, jaw-droppingly beautiful environments that you are free to destroy while playing, and some challenging puzzles. The oldest house allows the devs to experiment with the traditional and give way to the innovative through its Alice in Wonderland-esque mazes. Hades. Our next entry is a hack-and-slash rogue-like title that portrays Hades' son, Zagreus, whom the players control as he tries to break out of the underworld and make his way to Mount Olympus. You have the support of the other Olympian gods and often use the gifts they've bestowed upon you in order to progress in your journey. With its fast-paced, challenging combat, you'll enjoy the story and how naturally it's captured, though through non-linear progression. Parts of the world building are random in this action RPG and contribute to making it a memorable experience. Nioh. Set in the Sengoku period, Nioh is a dark, fictional account of real-life English navigator William Adams's adventures as a samurai in Japan. Nioh's story is more of a binding agent that holds the game's other greater aspects together. Its genius is best seen in the gameplay. Take the intricately layered adaptive combat that keeps you engaged, or the grit and charm that you find in this comical depiction of Adams. For those who appreciate a dash of culture in their games, Nioh instills elements from Japanese folklore in an extremely aesthetic, easy-on-the-eyes manner. You're also going to find some Dark Souls elements as you go about fighting yokai monsters on your quest to collect pieces of a magical stone scattered all over Japan. Outlast. An anonymous tip urges investigative journalist Miles Upshur to make his way to Mount Massive Asylum, a psychiatric facility that's said to be conducting unethical experiments on patients. To say that things are out of order at this facility for the disturbed would be a disturbing understatement. There is a heavy amnesia influence here. Miles is merely a journalist with no means to defend himself and is equipped only with his night vision camera, which many found to be a unique tool that makes this torturously frightening experience a more realistic one. However, you'll be hooked nonetheless and will applaud the sound and character designs here. Battlefield 4. 6 years after Battlefield 3's fictional War of 2014, the Tombstone squad comprising US Marines Dunn, Wrecker, Pack and Irish manages to secure important information about a threatening military involvement in China and must now get out of Azerbaijan and pass it on to prevent a devastating war. While there were a few issues at launch for the PS4 version, the core gameplay remained awesome. This one borrows the best from the best in the series to give you a realistic, unpredictable and gorgeous experience. Its most impressive feature lies in how it makes players adapt to changing environmental conditions. Minecraft. PS4 edition. Moving on to Mojang Studios' sandbox title that needs no introduction, a game that took the world by storm and is among the best games to ever be created. Minecraft has gamers navigate a block-made world. It's all 3D, procedurally generated, and it's got infinite ground for you to cover. The gameplay has you gathering materials to craft tools and other items that allow you to build structures and machines. There are 5 game modes, with survival and creative being the most popular ones. This one, simple as it may appear, is quite intuitive. No other sandbox game before or after Minecraft has managed to allow for this much creativity. A Way Out. This one is an exclusive co-op adventure. Yes, there is no single-player mode, and you must either team up with a local or an online partner and play in split screen as main characters Leo and Vincent in their prison break. The plot extends to a tale of crime, betrayal, and redemption, with the involvement of an imprisoned crime boss. The situations that A Way Out puts you in actually require cooperation between both players. You can approach these in the way you see fit, and both players must progress together. You can even invite friends to your team if they don't own the game themselves, as long as you host them using the Friend Pass. Journey. Journey is our next indie adventure and stars a robed figure in the endless desert who you take control of to get to a mountain on the horizon. Journey takes solely to atmospheric storytelling with a couple of visual-only cutscenes, abandoning dialogue altogether to artistically portray the story of your character's entire civilization. Along the way, you find that your own journey is a representation of your people. Journey, with its beautiful sound design that reflects player actions and gives this one its themes, is a game that aims to bring players together through its speechless gameplay and anonymous partnership system. You feel emotionally connected to the players you meet on your journey. Destiny. Destiny is the title that formed Bungie Inc.'s next franchise after the Halo games in partnership with Activision. Within its sci-fi, mythology-heavy world, you play as a guardian, one of Earth's protectors, keeping the planet's last safe city alien-free by using a power called light and reviving a celestial being. You also go to other planets to eliminate potential threats and prevent human extinction. The various activities here pit you against both other players and your environment. You are going to want to try the shared world RPG experience that Destiny offers through its multiplayer. The well-designed maps are a testament to Bungie's expertise, as was seen in the Halo games. Killzone Shadowfall. One of the PS4's launch titles, Shadowfall smartly toys with the Killzone formula. The story here takes place 30 years after the events depicted in Killzone 3. Belonging to the newer generation of soldiers, you play as Shadow Marshal Lucas Kellen and operate amid the Helghast Vector War to investigate a matter of great concern. Shadowfall comes with a critically acclaimed multiplayer mode and features far more open-ended gameplay. With new weaponry and gadgets, the graphics have been beautifully designed on the Dekima game engine and help bring the narrative to life. Overwatch. This next game takes the form of a first-person team-based hero shooter where players join a team of 6 to compete with another team. Each player can choose from a roster of diverse heroes that play a key role in their style of play and contribution to the team. Broadly, there are 4 types of hero classes: offense, defense, tank, and support. While there's also a team that works to justify every new addition to this online-only game with some background story, the focus lies heavily on the gunplay-based matches. There are a lot of game modes on offer here, but the most prominent ones are all payload or zone capture related. The Order 1886. In an alternate Victorian steampunk setting, the Round Table is an order that protects London from half-breed beasts who possess animalistic strength and form an anti-government uprising. You control Sir Galahad of the Round Table and navigate a linear path to fight these monsters and clear obstacles. The Order is an excellent shooter that also packs some thrilling quick-time event action and tells its tale in an artistic manner. The style complements the plot and the world design is very thorough. This altered history title is an extremely immersive experience. Rayman Legends. The 5th game in the Rayman franchise and sequel to 2011's Origins, Rayman Legends is a platformer brought to you by Ubisoft and features a gameplay style similar to that of Origins. A century has passed since the prequel's events, and Rayman Teensies and Glowbox have been fast asleep. However, the peace is broken when Barbara and her princess are taken captive by the Bubble Dreamer. Rayman and co. awakened in the wake of trouble and set out to restore peace. You collect lums, beat enemies and free captured Teensies to unlock new worlds to explore. There is no way you'll play this without admiring the level design and how well integrated the mechanics are here. Just Cause 3. Just Cause 3 came after the second game in the series and has you playing Rico Rodriguez again in his return to Medici, a fictional island in the Mediterranean that he calls home. However, Rico discovers that General Sebastiano di Ravello has taken over Medici in what appears to be a military dictatorship, and our hero must now work with his old friend Mario and his resistance to free the country. You'll find that the series' signature items like the grappling hook and parachute not only live on in the third game but have actually been made more realistic. While the old mechanics are overhauled and updated and a lot of new items have been added, the graphics are the most significant upgrade. Scarlet Nexus. The next near-future alternate reality title that's managed to earn a spot on our list is Bandai Namco's Scarlet Nexus, an action RPG. Players have the choice of controlling either Yuito Sumeragi or Kasane Randall, both of whom are members of the Other Suppression Force, which keeps these brain-eating mutants called the Others at bay and protects New Himuka. This one's got a mean combat system, and both your protagonists have psychokinetic abilities that allow you to throw objects at enemies in addition to fighting them with swords. Something you don't find in a lot of games but do in Scarlet Nexus is that the game makes your superhuman abilities a part of your weapon-based combo attacks. Stranded Deep. Stranded Deep takes the form of a procedurally generated survival game in the Pacific Ocean. You play the role of a strong-willed plane crash survivor who must survive the deadliest situations while looking for key resources that you'll require along the way. You spend your days and nights in this one's time cycle on an island and must try to arrange for shelter and craft equipment. You must also manage your inventory in a tight manner, only carry what helps you survive. Stranded Deep is an immersive, comprehensive survival simulator that has you managing your health, thirst, hunger and sleep. Tales of Arise. Yet another action RPG, Tales of Arise is the 17th Tales game we've received and follows a pair, a Daenan man named Alphon and a Renan woman named Shion, in working together as a team to bring an end to the 5 Renan lords' reign and free the world of Dana. The stakes are higher for our MCs as Alphon is on a quest to recover his memories while Shion tries to break her curse. After Tales of Symphonia, this is surely the best story and gameplay we have received ever since. It retains the basic linear motion battle system from the other Tales games and focuses on evasion and countering. This one doesn't have a multiplayer mode, but instead focuses on the characters and their interactions, especially in combat. Mafia 3. Starring Vietnam veteran Lincoln Clay, who you play as, Mafia 3 sees players aspire to start a new life only to get sucked back into mob business. When a mob leader betrays and kills your family, leaving Lincoln for dead, even though he's repaid his dad's loan, you seek the help of certain dangerous individuals and plot your revenge. This classy mob story packs a lot of exciting drama. It particularly excels at depicting well-written characters with great style and compelling voices. The city of New Bordeaux, which is the setting here, feels alive and makes for a map larger than the first 2 Mafia games combined. Nioh 2. With most of its story playing out as a prequel to the first game and the final chapters playing out as a sequel to the first game, Nioh 2 makes you control a player-created character. What it does differently from the first Nioh is that this one has you play a shifting protagonist, Hyde, who is a half-yokai spirit. You team up with a merchant who seeks Amrita in this story about the historical warlord Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Nioh 2 shows significant growth for the series over its predecessor. It features refined combat and introduces soul cores and burst counters, which impact the enemy AI. Nioh 2 is a game that is as rewarding as it is challenging, and the boss fights here are no joke. Mortal Shell. Heavily inspired by 2011's Dark Souls and aimed at delivering a deeper emotional experience, Mortal Shell is a third-person action RPG that relies heavily on its challenging melee combat to carry the gameplay as you control a shell character with various playstyles. Fallgrim is a medieval fantasy world that's characterized by its twisted environments and horrors. The whole thing feels like a love letter to the Dark Souls series, and the plot here has you discovering what led to the world's downfall. Marvelous verdict! And with that, our comprehensive exploration of the PS4's very best comes to an end. Be it their compelling narratives or the intense action in their gameplay, these 100 titles are among the ones that define the PS4's legacy. If you've stuck by our side in exploring all these games, I offer you the deepest marvelous salute. Thanks for watching, and do let us know which of these you enjoyed most in the comments. Stay tuned for more Marvelous Gamers.